Hello, welcome to Malt. I'm Andy and this is Whisky review number 24. Apologies in advance for the delay to this review. I had originally promised to post this particular whisky on the 11th of June, which was the release date for this bottle. Unfortunately, my fiance actually severed her Achilles tendon and I had to take her to A&E and was in hospital for a while, and I've been helping around since, so I've been a bit busy. So the whisky in question is this. Again, I hope you can see that. You should be able to, in theory. The Ardbeg Dark Cove, and that is the annual special release. And every year Ardbeg release a special edition. Let's see, what was last year's? Perpentum, I think. Year before that was Oriverdes, Ardbeg, and so on and so on. And this year's, as I say, Ardbeg Dark Cove. And Dark Cove is named after Isla's infamous smuggling heritage and history. A lot of smugglers on Isla, smuggling various things, whisky included. Not saying there are now, I mean there might be, I don't know, but you know, people of Isla in the past, smugglers, maybe there are now. Well, we'll see. Dark Cove, got a bit of a dual name, in the sense that Ardbeg also have matured Dark Cove in ex-bourbon and ex-sherry casks, and they say it's the darkest Ardbeg to date. In terms of colour, I'd like to challenge that, because I think Ugadal is a bit darker, but who am I to say? Bottled at 46.5%. Should we get on to nosing it? It's Ardbeg. Okay. Already very complex. My good friend Joe over at Whisky Wednesday reviewed the committee release version of this, which is an even more limited edition, if there is such a thing, over on his YouTube channel. Check it out, I'm sure you already are subscribed to it. If you're not, get it done. And he gave it a very good review, the committee release. Mine is the standard edition, released on the 11th of June. Retail price £99. Rich figs, dates, black espresso, very strong Arabica bean espresso. A lot of very smoky meat in there. You know, charcoal grilled, not coal, don't use coal on the barbecue, Christ. Charcoal slabs of like porterhouse, thick sirloin thing that are just really sort of heavily charred meat. There's a little touch in there of anise, star anise as well. Maybe a little bit of orange. But as you can imagine, the smoke is pretty prevalent, but it does come in various disguises. It's still all there in the background though. A few spiky sort of ethanol notes on the nose, but it's starting to settle down. This is the first time that I've tried this. Again, as I mentioned in my recent Compass Box Enlightenment review, this is an official sample, just like to point that out, I've been provided with. So firstly, thank you very much for that. But again, just to reinforce what I said in the last review, being provided with an official sample does not mean that I'm going to give it a good review. Really dark, bitter Peruvian chocolate. I don't normally like too pretentiously tasting notes, but I'm a bit of a fan of chocolate. I do like my dark chocolates. Peruvian chocolate tends to have that kind of like earthy, really dark, rich, I'm not going to say smoky, but there's a little bit of something in there as well if you do manage to try one. It just sets it apart from other kind of South American chocolates. That sounded so idiotic, but sorry. It's good. Very good nose. Really still quite gutted that Ardbeg don't put an age statement on their special releases, because I think if you're forking out £100 for a special edition whiskey, you ideally want to know what's going in it. But such is life, such is the way that they do things. I can't remember how many bottles it's limited to, but I think with previous releases, Ardbeg saying that it's a limited edition just basically means that they're not in general production. Doesn't mean that there's only 500 bottles. I think there's about 8,000, maybe 10,000 bottles of this, so you're going to be able to find it quite readily. Okay. Going back to the nose, still a lot of that smoked meat in there. Think of burning leaves in the back garden as well. There's a little bit of ginger in there. Cake mix, like a dark, rich, Christmassy cake mix, and brandy salt raisins. A little bit of rubber, just a tiny little bit of rubber, but pleasant, quite pleasant. This is probably going to get me a lot of stick. Andy's random tasting note, TM, but when you were a kid and you got one of those flyaway footballs from the shop and it had that kind of like rubbery, plasticky smell, but it was really pleasant, really kind of reminds me of playing football as a kid. Just I'm sorry, but that's just... Right, onto the palate. Boy, that is Ardbeg. Right, where to start? Christmas cake. Normally associated with very sweet, heavily sherried spike ciders. I'm definitely getting Christmas cake in there. Wow, it's changing all the time. Again, chocolate. Coffee again. I think coffee grinds this time. While that finishes long. Cassia bark. Oddly. There's a little bit of sort of walnutty flavour in there as well. Think of like an oily nut. I'm just going to go back to it again. On the nose, a little bit of iodine now. Mouthfeel is quite good. Not too oily, but not thin. A lot of charred meat on the palate as well, to be honest. Cold smoke. I said Christmas cake already, but definitely Christmas cake in there. Very well rounded, very rich, but it's not overpowering. It's rich but rounded. It's not something that's going to completely cover your palate and then that's it, game over. It's very enjoyable. It's surprisingly approachable, actually, given you know it is an Ardbeg. It's a heavily peated Ardbeg, but yeah, it's really quite quaffable. It reminds me in a way, some of these notes, I don't know if you ever tried Balcones Brimstone, but the meaty notes in particular remind me of that. It's not quite to that degree. The sherry does play its part on the palate. There is that kind of nuttiness that I've already mentioned, a bit of sweetness. Drying towards the end. And the finish, I did get a little bit of burn upon swallowing it, but it's pleasant. It's not taken away from the experience. It is actually kind of enabling the finish to continue. It's still going. It's coming back to haunt me, but in a good way. Think Ghost. Think the film Ghost, Demi Moore, minus the clay making. ginger. Chinese five spice. Chinese five spice. Quite an oriental flavour in there now. Yeah, really quite oriental flavour. And then that sort of plays alongside the grilled meats. I think I like a Chinese meat. Kind of, when I went back in then, for those of you that live in the UK and you get the pleasure of experiencing bonfire night, not bonfire night itself, the day after, when you go out your front door, there's been a load around the area and there's that still sort of like smoky note in the air. There's actually still a lot of smoke in the air, sometimes you can hardly see. And again, going towards the end of that the transition from the palate to the finish, it's bringing out those sort of Isla coastal elements as well. There's a little bit of saltiness, there's your iodine, a little bit of seaweedy kind of thing going on there as well. It's great. I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed. 100 quid, would I pay 100 quid for it? While I'm impressed, I probably won't pay 100 quid for it. I think this is a 60 quid whiskey, tops in a 100 quid dress. Still very enjoyable. And on that note, onto the score. Finish is still going, by the way, I can still bloody taste it. I'm going to give this an 87 out of 100, Dark Cove for me. Well put together. It's actually probably one of the better special editions and special releases over the last few years. Ardbeg was alright. Perpentum, however you bloody pronounce it. Not my cup of tea, to be honest. I didn't think there was enough to it, and this is getting it back on the right track, I think. All I will say to you guys is that if I had to choose between this and Uigeadail is about what, 50 quid, 55 quid? I would personally go for the Uigeadail, because not only is it more affordable, and for me it provides just as much pleasure as this, because I do love a good bottle of Uigeadail. It's also incredibly consistent, it's more widely available, and you know, it's 50 quid cheaper, so do the maths. So on that note, thanks very much for watching. I'm Andy, this was Malt Box. See you soon.